right back into it, okay? Since since part 1, EA UFC has been released. All right, now that's good for us. We get to see, you know, what kind of progress EA is making with these fighting games. And there's, you know, they added some real good-looking different damage states. We could use more. We could use way more, but it looks good. It all looks very, very good. But still flaws. We still got flaws. There's still no fainting in the game. And you know, at first glance, I wasn't sure, but they're damn sure is not a knockout and knockout generator like I initially had thought. Nope. We still have animation-based knockdowns, animation-based knockouts, as you can see here. That leads to repetition. We gotta address this one last time. I already covered this in part 1, but listen, let me say this, you guys. Okay, there's a lot of I noticed a lot of debate whether or not what I was asking for was possible, all right, in terms of a knockout and knockdown generator. But look, next gen technology is capable of having a knockdown and knockout generator, and a good one. You know how I know? Because last gen was too. It's already been done. Grand Theft Auto 5 had it. All right, that's based on driving around and shooting. That game had it. UFC Undisputed 3 had it too, and Fight Night Round 6 must have it. All right, and listen, if you guys just refuse, well, you know, give us 100 animations each, okay? Give us 100 knockdown animations, okay? Give us 100 knockout animations, and give us 100 get up animations. But let's move on, you guys, to modes. Amateur boxing mode. You gotta have that in the game, all right? Headgear, gloves, amateur boxing rules, all right, for Fight Now and Legacy mode. All right, fighters have long amateur careers, people. A majority of the time, 200-300 amateur fights sometimes. That's time we could spend building our skills as a fighter in Legacy mode, or not. If we choose, we could choose to go just straight pro. All right, but you gotta have that option. Gotta have that option. Tournament mode, where we could spectate fights and fight in the tournament, and have the commentary reflect your progress in the tournament. Commentary should always, and this includes Legacy mode too, should always mention and announce milestones in a fighter's career. First world title, first knockdown, first loss. They should talk about tendencies that you have as a fighter, all right, and how your opponent can defeat you. You know what I mean? Keys to victory. They should do that before the fight. And if you're undefeated, they should talk about that too. If you have a rematch or a saga with a fighter, they should discuss that. Outcomes of the previous matches, you know what I mean? Etc, etc. In Fight Now mode, we need the option to have one fighter or the other be a title holder and be announced as a title holder. In Legacy mode, when we are announced, I want to be announced as a 3 or 4 or 5 time world champion if I am one. I want to see all those belts being carried out by my entourage too when I'm coming to the ring and when I'm announced. And speaking of entourages, where are they in the game? Where is anybody? I mean, you see how full the ring gets before and after a fight in real life? Well, fill up that ring. This is not realistic. We need this. Create a ring mode. I want to be able to customize the size of the ring, the color of the ring, the logos on the ring, the color of each and every individual rope on each of the 4 sides of the ring. And let us save up to 10, say about 10 to 15 of these rings that we can create and have them available to use in any of the arenas available in the game. Now, how many arenas? Let's talk about it. We only got a few extra rings, you know, 2 or 3 from the last game. The rest was completely recycled. You guys know this. Talking to you, EA, you guys know you went and recycled pretty much everything. We need all new arenas. At least 50. That doesn't include gyms now. That includes the small arenas, the big arenas, the massive arenas, outdoor arenas in every major state in the United States and every country in the world. Listen, I should be able to have multiple arenas to choose from in Mexico or Puerto Rico or Argentina or Canada or the UK, etc, 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 okay? All right, and allow us hometown crowds that you can feel is behind you or against you. All right, now on to event mode. Event mode pretty much is a glorified Fight Now mode, all right, with undercards and more emphasis on presentation before the fight, okay? For example, at the beginning, have Joe and Teddy tell you what kind of fights we have in store one by one. Preview the matches that way to us. I mean, if there's titles involved, obviously, that's something that should be mentioned. All right, and give us optional national anthems before the big event.
Have the announcer be like, please rise for the national anthem of so-and-so, you know what I mean? Throw that in there too. Now, in legacy mode, before a fight, stare down mini games. Now let's talk about it. Okay, we see in games like Mass Effect, where we have multiple branching options, right, to choose to express ourselves differently. Well, what we need in Fight Night is more control over our fighter's personality by giving us the option to, let's say, smile in our opponent's face, talk smack, or just stare, or you mean have a little bit of a pull and a push, you know what I mean, and push your opponent. You know what I mean, and I mean, you push the wrong dude, maybe it's not gonna turn out good for you, maybe. You know, that's the whole, that's the fun of it. You know what I mean? Now on to taunts. Have dozens and dozens of unique taunts to choose from, but subtle taunts too. Or we see Mayweather many times. I mean, as you see here, he's just smiling. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by subtle. A smile, you know what I mean? A nod of the head. And don't lock us into animations of these taunts either. So we get punched in the head while we're, you know, doing the Ali shuffle. Or, you know what I mean? Pacquiao butting his fists together. And one more thing about customization. Have somewhat more of like a layer tool for us to create, you know, the most personalized gear we can imagine in our head for our fighters. For example, here you see these trunks. It's comprised of different fabrics, different layers of fabrics, and have about 50 more hair and facial hair options, okay, and tattoos. And for every big name fighter in the game, as well as all our legacy mode fighters, I want the option to play as that fighter, you know, throughout different at different stages of his career. Which reminds me, you guys made the ridiculous mistake. No disrespect, you guys, but the ridiculous mistake of having guys like Roy Jones Jr. in the game. Okay, he's already in the game at light heavyweight, but not at heavyweight. Roy Jones Jr. fought at heavyweight, you guys. Evander Holyfield, already in the game at heavyweight, but only available at heavyweight, not at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? He's already in the game. First of all, there is no cruiserweight division in the game. That's a disgrace in and of itself. There needs to be every division in boxing in the game, not lumped together with another division by itself. 50 fighters at least in each. That includes bums, champions, contenders, and yes, bums, so that when we want to knock out bums, we can knock out bums. All right, so that in legacy mode, when we working our way up, we don't gotta fight these goofball looking dudes, these randomly generated fighters, man. I don't want, come on with that, man. And if there's a fighter that you have there that has fought in a different division, put him in the other division too. You understand? And don't make us pay for it. He's already in the game. Don't make us pay to play as the same dude at a different weight. We need a rehydration option. You know, fighters, they rehydrate after they weigh in, okay? That means some of them up to 20 pounds. So a heavier fighter is gonna be slower, but a little more powerful. You know, a lighter fighter obviously is gonna be quicker, not as much power and snap, but you get the picture. Now, 50 fighters a division, that's a lot of fighters, right? You're damn right. We need all fighters in the game. I don't care if Floyd Mayweather says no, okay? At least include his punching style. The check left hook. Same goes for everybody, okay? Everyone's punching style. Put as many different punching styles, styles of throwing every different punch as possible, so that when we're creating a fighter of our own, we could piece together a style of our own. I mean, maybe I want a fighter with Pacquiao's straight and Tyson's left hook and Klitschko's jab. I want my fighters that I create to fight uniquely. Now, last mode I'm gonna talk about before we get to the actual gameplay mechanics. Training. There's no speed bag in the game. I don't know why. Why not? That's an easy one to program. L1 for your left hand, R1 for your right hand. Or left side of the analog for your left hand, right side of the analog for your right hand. Alright, and you alternate. You hit the speed bag with rhythm. That's it. It's simple. You know what I mean? To build strength, you lift weights. Weightlifting minigame. For accuracy, you hit the mitts. You know what I mean? Etc, etc, etc. Variety.
Now, last thing, because I'm running out of time here before we go on to part 3 and the madness continues. Defense. Let's talk about defense. For hardcore players, defense should be more of an acquired skill. And I spoke in part 1 about hardcore mode and arcade mode, suited for both, you know, casual players and hardcore players. For hardcore players, like I said, we want defense to be more of an acquired skill. So we should revert back to the defensive structure you guys had in Fight Night Round 3. The shoulder roll needs to be in the game, okay? And for arcade players, hitting block should automatically go ahead and roll the punch. But for hardcore players, that should be an acquired skill. Like I said, block and then hit the left side of the analog and roll it. You know what I mean? Simple. Listen, Fight Night Champion was good, and I'm talking to EA, and I'm talking to you, Brian Hayes. If there is indeed any question about if this game needs to, if it should happen or not, The answer is absolutely it needs to happen next. Okay, that's all I gotta say for now, you guys. Part 3, we're gonna cover other more huge. I ain't even close to done. Okay, we're gonna cover more huge features in the game that's missing. But yeah, I'll see you there. Peace.
Supposed to fight because we love the sport and we like the challenge. Is what it feels to defeat another human being with the same brain capacity, with the same boxing skill, you know, and then you become the winner. That's the great thing.